Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Benjamin, and welcome to a discussion on two Senate races. I normally am not going to be doing two Senate races in this series simply because, while there aren't. I think it's a little bit more interesting to go further in depth, basically. But the truth is, California's is it's going to be a pretty easy call. Um, I'll discuss why. The map for California, that was the last time this Senate seat actually had a Republican and a Democrat face off in the general election. In 2016, if you remember, the competition was between Kamala Harris and another Democrat in the general election. And in 2018, it was Kevin De Leon versus Dianne Feinstein. Um, which was, yeah, again, two Democrats. It is almost certain that two Democrats are going to advance from the jungle primary in next year. And who they're going to be is going to be a completely different story, because what's going to wind up happening is that there's going to be, a million different candidates on the ballot. That is a problem that California has with its primaries, is because it's a jungle ballot. You'll have, a jungle primary. You'll have 5 or 6 Democrats, 7 or 8 Republicans, a few Libertarians, a few Greens, a bunch of independents, and everyone in between. You'll have 30 or 40 candidates running for one race on a statewide ballot. And that means your ballots in California are going to be 4, 5, 6 pages long. It's not really an ideal situation. And I think California is kind of a good example as to why jungle primaries are bad. But then again, it may just be because California is so heavily favorable to one party. California is a very, 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 very Democratic-leaning state. And I think the other problem with jungle primaries is that quite often you will wind up in a situation where a party that may represent, a good 40% of the people doesn't advance to the general election, because in that jungle primary you may have 3 people running against 2 from a different party. And the majority party may wind up with both slots in the general election. And that's not an ideal situation, I don't think. Because you're effectively telling, about 40% of the population of California that their voices don't matter. And that's why I don't like the idea of jungle primaries. It's a fun concept, and it seems great in theory. But when you actually practice it, you wind up, at least in American politics, with a situation where you'll often wind up with, in some places, 2 Democrats running against each other. And quite often they will have very similar policy goals. I think San Francisco had 2 progressives who had basically identical politics to each other running against each other in a general election. How is that good for democracy? You have 2 choices. Both of them want the exact same things. The only difference is, do you want it to be this name or this name? And at that point, that disincentivizes turnout. And you have extremely large portions of extremely large percentages of people undervoting. Basically, they vote for one race, and then they don't vote for any races where there's two people from the same party running against each other. Republicans in California do it all the time. I don't think that's a good thing. So, the current incumbent for this seat is Alex Padilla. He's the incumbent senator. He was appointed to fill Kamala Harris's place when she became the vice president. Don't make that joke. He was a former California Secretary of State and a former state senator for California, Los Angeles City Council president, and a Los Angeles City Councilor. So he does have political experience, and it's been an upward trend for him. So it's not necessarily... Yeah. Going on to Republicans, you're going to have people... James Bradley, who was a candidate in 2018. Elizabeth Heng, who is, well, her history is she was a candidate for the 16th Congressional District. Yeah. But neither are actually in elected office right now. A few potential candidates are Mike Garcia, the current representative for California's 25th Congressional District, Daryl Issa, the representative from the 50th Congressional District, Michelle Steele from California's 48th is another potential candidate. Young Kim, I'm pretty sure that's she, declined. She's the representative, she's a representative from California's 39th Congressional District. And the reason why she declined is she is interested in running for re-election. Go figure. Now we're going to move on to Colorado, where Michael Bennet is going to be running for re-election, right? And the truth is, he's going to win the primary. By the way, California is safe Democratic, if anybody had any doubts to that. Colorado, Michael Bennet is so far the only Democrat who has announced that he wants to run for re-election. There may be some challenges, but I don't think he loses a primary. A few potential Republicans would include that I think are at least mildly interesting. Be Eli Bremer, is an Olympian Air Force major. It's an interesting... Yeah, that's interesting qualifications, but former chair of the El Paso Republican Party. I wonder if that's El Paso, Texas, or El Paso, Colorado. El Paso, Colorado. Okay. One of Colorado State Senators, John Cook. Cory Gardner has been mentioned as potentially being capable of running for the seat. Daryl Glenn, a former lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. After all, Colorado does have a very strong Air Force presence, with Colorado Springs being the home of the U.S. Air Force Academy. Former minority leader of Colorado's State House, Patrick Neville. Stephen Reams, Weld County, Colorado Sheriff. Interesting choices. Bill Owens, a former governor of Colorado, declined to run And so has the current representative from Colorado's 4th District, Ken Buck. He was their nominee for the Senate in 2010. Cory Gardner might have a decent chance, but the reality is this is a likely Democratic seat. I'd be tempted to put it in safe Democratic, but it is supposedly going to be a Republican favorable year in the midterms, and in my opinion, that's enough to keep it from being safe. Also, Colorado tends to have more competitive elections at this level rather than the presidential level. I mean, in 2016, this seat was within, it was about 6%. And in a Republican favorable year, even with the Democratic trend that Colorado has taken, I don't consider it unfathomable that it's going to be within 15%, certainly, possibly within 10. So we could see it in the leans territory, but I think likely is appropriate for where we're sitting. But that's currently where things stand. So, yeah. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for watching. This channel has grown significantly over the past couple of weeks, and I want to thank each and every one of you who has subscribed. If you're new to the channel, like, a comment, a subscription is greatly appreciated, and I really do want to thank all y'all. Important links are down in the description, and yeah. So take it easy, y'all. Have a very nice day. See you next time. Bye-bye.